Welcome to the weekend market review for the week ending on 22nd December 2022. Kindly note that I'm not a SEBI registered analyst or an advisor. Whatever information presented in this video is purely for educational purposes and not a recommendation to buy or sell. First, let's look at the NIFTY and other indices. Let us first look at the NIFTY. In the previous weekend review, we did see some weakness in the Nifty because it was not able to make much headway and the volumes remained quite low. But looking at the performance of the small and the mid caps and overall market participation, we concluded that there was still strength in the market and the bias was positive. And as expected, the strength continued and we saw the Nifty going up. Because the week started with a lower opening, but it closed higher, indicating strength, but the volume still remained low. The next day, on Tuesday, we saw a small spread bar, again on a lower volume. But on Wednesday, we saw an effort to move a bar on higher volumes, and this could be in anticipation of lower interest rates in the US. And on Thursday, when the US indices did very well on the previous day, we saw weakness in the Nifty. You can see the volume was high. It opened higher, but it closed lower, but the spread was very narrow, indicating whatever supply was there, and there was plenty of supply, and that was being absorbed here. That is why we see a narrow bar. But finally, the supply had the upper hand in the index closed down. But on Friday, the weakness became more profound. But the volumes remained lower. That means the demand was giving up. So, overall, in the last 2 days, we did see weakness in the Nifty. Now, if you look at the overall market volumes, in this chart, I have the buy volume, the sell volume, and the overall market volume. And you can see on Friday, the overall volume was much higher than the average, and the buy volume was much higher, about 5 times the sell volume, though the advances were about 1.4 times the declines. So now let's look at the other indices as well. The NSE 500, which represents the overall, much broader market, the response was almost similar, or the performance were almost similar to the Nifty, though on Friday did not close down like the Nifty, and the volume was much higher, indicating there was indeed some support coming in here at lower levels. Let's look at the mid cap here. You can see the mid cap indices did very well on Friday. As you can see, very much increased volume, and we had a up bar here closing near the high, and it's almost at the edge of crossing the previous rejection zone. The small caps as well, you can see, was bullish, though I don't have the volume data here, but we had an up bar closing near the high, and it's entering into the previous rejection zone. So though the Nifty showed some weakness, the small and the mid caps showed strength. So the overall there's strength in the market. We don't see more weakness coming in here. So let me go back to the NSE chart. So overall there is some strength left. It's not too much weakness there. And you can see this trend line, or what we would call as the demand line here. It took support here and also took support here. This time too, the Nifty may test this line before moving up, but the overall bias is still positive for the coming week, though we may see a dip towards the demand line and before moving up. Now let's look at the sectoral performances. First, we'll be looking at the performance on a weekly time frame, on a higher time frame. So we are looking at the performance for the last quarter or 12 weeks here. So as we saw that banking has been the one performing for the last 3 months or the one quarter. And we are seeing actually some improvement in the performance here. So this you can see from the chart, there is an increased performance in the last 2 weeks overall. The auto, it was a non-performer, but not too much. It was more of a lackluster performance. And off late, you can see it is dipping down. It is going down here. You can see it going down. And the consumption is again, it is become an underperformer and it is going down further. Energy has been not been performing well. There's been a bad performer for almost 2 months now. And of late, you can see some improvements, but it is still an underperformer. But we can see some improvement coming in the energy sector. Fin services, it has been a lackluster, but on the positive side, lackluster performance. And again, of late, you can see it improving. It was going down, and then you can see this improvement coming in here. FMCG, last month it was doing well, the previous month, but in November it started doing badly. As you can see, it was doing well and that is now started coming down here. Now it has become an underperformer. Infra, lackluster, nothing to much talk to, nothing to talk much about, but of late again you can see the improvement here coming. In the last 2 weeks you can see the improvement is there. Media, it has been going down, as you can see. Metals, it was not doing very well, and now we can see some improvements coming in metal as well. Pharma, briefly it did well, and then now it's again going back to underperformance. And we all know that PSU banks have been doing well of late, and you can see the improvement here. Realty is an underperformer. Service sector was underperforming, and of late you can see from underperformance is becoming positive and it is moving up. IT was one sector which saw some good improvement in the last 3 weeks. I can see it was going down, down, and it is now turned positive, and then you can see it is again improving. This is the overall performance on a weekly time frame. Now let's look at how it performed in the last 2 weeks based on the daily performance. Bank Nifty was doing well, but last week, for the last 2 days, you can see it has gone down, and then it was actually going down, and then the last 2 days it went negative. It was weakening and then became lagging, so it is now an underperformer on Friday. Auto, it was in the red, but still it is improving, but still need to see it coming onto the green side. Consumption, again, can see the improvement. Energy, we saw in the weekly time frame also we could see some improvements, but on Friday the energy stocks did well. The financial services, of course, was doing well, and the last week they became underperformer actually. FMCG, you can see some improvements coming in the last week. Infra, again improvements. Media also saw some improvements. Metal saw some weakness, and maybe it will recover, but it's still on the negative side. MNCs are doing badly. Still some improvements is there, but it is still on the negative or the red side. Pharma, you can see they were underperformers in the last 2 weeks, and it has been continuously improving. Hopefully next week it will come to the green side. And the PSU banks were doing very well, and the last week, in the last 2 3 days, it has gone down, as you can see. Again, realty is doing badly. The service sector was doing well, and the last week it went into the red. As you can see, it is underperforming now. IT also was doing well, but now it is slightly going down, and the last 2 days we did see some increase. There was a dip here and some improvement may be coming here. So the next week, if this is continuing, you can see the bank Nifty go further into the negative side. Autos could see some improvement. Energy could see some improvement. FMCG definitely will see some improvement. Infra, media, these are the ones we could see improvement. MNCs and pharma, we have also some improvements, but still they have to come a long way. The service sector again is gone into the red now. IT, we saw some recovery, and that could continue. So the sectors mainly we should focus on the coming week could be, we keenly look at energy, FMCG, infra, media, and IT. These are the sectors we should be looking at, and those who are into PSU banks need to be a little careful as we see it weakening here. So they need to be careful. So this is about the sector performance for the last week. Thank you, and I hope you found this video useful. In order to get notified for future reviews or videos, do subscribe to this channel, and in case you find this video useful, please do press the like button.